Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, June 18, 2025, and I welcome you to another post-cabinet press briefing. And this morning, we have a minister extraordinaire with us who will be our main presenter, and that is none other than the Honorable Edmund Bartlett, our Extraordinary Minister of Tourism. We also have with us today Senator the Honorable Delano Seavright, Minister of State in the Ministry of Tourism. We have Dr. Kassan Troop, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth and Information. We also have Jennifer Griffith, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism. And we also have with us Mrs. Terry Ann Thomas Gale, Acting Chief Education Officer. There's several heads of tourism agencies here and other senior members of the Ministry of Education, members of the media, Jamaicans watching at home and abroad. Another beautiful Wednesday good morning to you all. Now, as always, I start with some good news stories. And they gave me 10 pages of good news stories, but I can't go through 10 pages, not when you have the Honorable Ed Bartlett here with us. But I will give you a few of them, and I saw his presentation yesterday in Parliament, and it was almost 50 pages. So there's a lot of good things happening in our country, lots going on in tourism. And I'll start, as I always do, with the murder statistics. Murders are down 44.2%. So every week it gets better and better. Jamaica is becoming safer every single day. And when we look at the numbers since the start of the year up to June 14, and this is the data up to June 14, which is not that far, so a few days ago, murders are down by 44.2%. Shootings are down by 32.5%. And overall major crimes are down by 18.8%. What it means is that in the same period, when we compare it to last year, 240 fewer Jamaicans have lost their lives to senseless violence. That's 240 people here who would not have been here but for the work of the JCF and the work of the administration. And so, as always, I put that first because that is a very important news story. And us getting safer and safer is important for us to celebrate as a country. The other item I'll highlight is the government's intensified fight against predial larceny with the launch of the Agricultural Protection Branch of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. And this new branch was officially launched on June 13. And the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, the Honorable Floyd Green, he welcomed the new branch, and he noted that this was a clear response to farmers' long-standing concerns about theft. So the APB, which is what we're calling it, will be structured around agricultural protection units spread across all of JCF's 5 area commands and covering 19 regions. And they're going to use intelligence-led policing, strategic patrols, community partnerships, and what I love, drone technology to improve detection, deterrence, and rapid response. They will also have motorbikes deployed to enhance mobility in rural, hard-to-reach areas. This is a big deal. Predial larceny is a big issue, and we are addressing it as we are addressing all the other elements of crime in Jamaica. And we should note that arrests for predial larceny rose by 78% in 2024. That means that work is already being done, and this new branch is going to enhance that work. The other one I will mention is the new forensic facility. And many of us remember the long wait for autopsies and us having to use private funeral homes in order to do them. Now we have a brand new forensic facility. It's called the Forensic Pathology Autopsy Suite at 149 Orange Street in downtown Kingston. It cost $680 million to construct, and this state-of-the-art facility will improve the timeliness and accuracy of post-mortem examinations. And of course, it will help to clear the backlog of cases that we have. The last one I will note before we bring up the esteemed Minister of Tourism is home ownership. It's a big issue on everybody's lips, and when you talk to young people especially, they tell you, I want to own a home. And so, effective June 16, 2025, that's 2 days ago, the National Housing Trust implemented the increased loan limits that were announced by the Prime Minister in his budget presentation 2 weeks early. So it should have come into effect in July, but it is now in effect 2 weeks early. And so, as you know, there are many different enhancement. Open market loans for an individual has moved up to $9 million. If it's 2 applicants, it's now $17 million. 3 co-applicants, $23 million. Also, they have increased build-on-own land loans, house lot loans, and there's also additional support for existing homeowners. And for those who want to fix up a house they already have, those limits have gone up. Also, coming July 1, the smart energy loan ceiling has increased, and that's a big one, from $1.5 million to $2.5 million. And you can use those to purchase solar panels, rainwater harvesting system, battery storage, and those interest rates are really low, 0 to 5%. And there's also expanded home grants for contributors with unfinished properties older than 2 years. And so we are doing our best to assist Jamaicans in home ownership or to fix up a house. And that is the last one I will do. I have so many more that are so exciting, but I'll have to stop there because this morning is especially special for me to have the Minister of Tourism here, the Honorable Ed Bartlett, who I will tell you is not just extraordinary in Jamaica, he is extraordinary all over the world. I remember going into a very far country and they asking me if I know Ed Bartlett. He is very well known around the world. He is seen as Mr. Tourism, not just for us, but for others. He's an innovator in tourism. He has created the term tourism resilience. He is the leader in that. And the world has come around to understand that that is important. And even more important for me, and especially for young ministers, he is someone who supports us nonstop. He is always there giving advice, and he doesn't have to, but he takes the time to mentor us. And I have had to rely on him quite a bit, and I am extremely grateful for it. And so when you see someone who's as esteemed as him but still finds the time to mentor young people, you know it's a special person. And so for me, gives me great, great pleasure to welcome this morning the Honorable Edmund Bartlett, our Minister of Tourism.
Thank you very much, Minister, Senator, Doctor, the Honorable Minister of Education, Skills Training, Information, and so many very important things that are vital to human capital development in our country. The Honorable Dana, Morris Dixon. And I think that Jamaica is lucky to have you as minister at this time. We appreciate the work that you've been doing for us. Good morning, everyone. And I'm really delighted to share today with you excerpts from our performance at the Ministry of Tourism over the period. Certainly, I wanted to look at our stewardship in the last 9 years, and to indicate the level of impact that tourism has had on not just the broad economy, but more so the people, because that's really what we're about. We're about enabling people, facilitating development and creating pathway to progress. And also how communities themselves become deeply immersed in tourism activities, and in the end, to find a path for a circular economy where tourism feeds into the communities that are around it, and the community feeds back into the tourism plant and structures that are around it. And so this government has been purposefully driving a tourism strategy that is transformative, a tourism strategy that is inclusive, and a tourism strategy that is forward-looking. And the inclusiveness deals primarily with human capital development. And our biggest achievement in the period has been the level of certification and the building of this stackable credentials within the tourism industry. The issue of professionalizing the industry is at the heart of enabling a greater value added and for the workers of the industry to be greater beneficiaries of the fruits of the industry. And there are many who believe that by simply just asking for more pay, it means that, you're going to get more. You get more because we are able to produce more and to be more productive, and that we are able to tie your productivity to competence and also to validation. And validation comes through certification as a start, and then your competence flows thereafter. And the combination of certification and that enables you. Competence and certification enables you to reach the skies. It does two things for you. One, it gives you the options for mobility within your organization. And secondly, it gives you other options for portability, to be able to leave and go anywhere you want to go, anywhere in the world, and to practice your art. And that's what the government of Jamaica has been doing with the tourism sector over the period. And I established the Jamaica Center for Tourism Innovation. And that became the Pathway Training Certification Institute that allows for competent workers who are on the job in the hotels and elsewhere to be certified while they're there. So you never had a chance to go to high school. You never had a chance to go to university. You never had a chance to go to a community college. But you're competent. Over the last 10, 15, 20 years, you've become an A1 producer in your area. But your limit is confined to a certain space within the organization. There's no scope for mobility because you're not certified. So we go in, we partnered with the American Hotel and Lodging Institute and the American Culinary Federation and a number of other certifying agents, and we certify you. And now we're seeing where there is that level of mobility. And the final area that I wanted to deal with in terms of human capital development that we push is that it's not just about looking at the worker today. It's now understanding what the worker of tourism will be tomorrow. And so we had to think deeply and broaden our own perspective on what the labor market arrangements in tourism are going to look like. And to see what the current developments are and the trends that follow. And the current development in terms of digitization and virtualization and the whole business that AI and the Internet of Things in general is going to play a critical role in defining the experiences of the future in tourism and require the workers of the industry to be not just au fait with these, but to be able to manipulate them and to use them to create the value added that is required. So the JCTI has been looking deeply at this, and our future lies there. Training and development. And then the incubator, the Tourism Innovation Incubator that we created to enable young people with ideas. No money, just ideas. And we recognize that the power of tourism is ideas. It's always what is new, what is fresh, what is different. What differentiates you as a destination from somewhere else? Why do I come to Jamaica and not go to another country? And it is because of the uniqueness of your presentation and your experience. And that comes from ideas, new ideas. And the repository of new ideas, it is true that we are wonderful people of my age and so on with great ideas. But the real repository of ideas is young. It's the young people. And so we established the Tourism Innovation Incubator to bring young people with ideas. And we put $100 million to assist in converting those ideas into material goods and services that will have a value and a price. And then we try to match these new ideas and skills with existing operators. And those that can't be matched with them, we provide startup arrangements for, so you can start your own business. And we're very proud of the outcomes of that so far, and it is going to go further. And yesterday I spoke about Dr. Chambers and his exciting new tourism and health experience, which is now operational in Montego Bay. So we think that the young people in the high schools, and I'm very happy that Minister Dana's team are here, because the Ministry of Education has been a key partner with tourism to roll out these critical human capital development projects. And the high schools have been another incubator. And we're very pleased that in the last 5 years, and it was truncated a bit by COVID, we understand, but we came back with a bang in the last 2 years, and now we're about to graduate nearly 300 students who will have certification in hotel management and customer service. So what we're creating now is the entry level into tourism from the feeder institutions, the high school, being fully geared to train and present the new workers in the industry. The second area that we wanted to focus on was how we were able to link tourism with the daily economic arrangements that enable prosperity. And we had the Tourism Enhancement Fund in the past, a fund, and it changed. We morphed it into an agency in 2017. And since then, we've built out the TEF to become the driver of inclusive tourism through the linkages network that was established. And so we found 5 critical areas that we will drive. 1, gastronomy, food. 42% of the expenditure of a visitor is on food. So if you want to really make resource flow into your space and stay, build out your capacity to supply the food requirements of the tourists. And so we moved very hard on that. And we worked with the farmers. We established also a platform for them, a special platform called Alex, that allowed them to connect directly with the hotels to sell their produce from their fields. So the farmer in Flagaman, with his iPhone, calls the purveyors in Iberia Star, makes the transaction, and with a little luck with PayPal, gets paid immediately, and the food is delivered fresh to the storeroom of the hotels. And that has happened, and those small farmers, 3 acres, 1.5 acres. Not the big guys, because the big guys are out there supplying also, but the little guys now. And they have in 1 year, so far this year, over $450 million of trading has happened on that platform between those small farmers, the little farmer, and the hotels. And since we have started, it's nearly $2 billion that have traded overall. We're expanding this, and we are now going to plant out 2,000 lime trees, because lime is a big item of demand in tourism. And not available, we have to be importing lime. So 2,000 trees are now being planted. Strawberry was a big issue, and we used to import heavily strawberry. Now strawberry is supplied to the tourists by Jamaicans. Last night I was with one of our big strawberry producers who is a beneficiary of the Tourism Enhancement Program. He gave me a nice basket. We are now supplying these things. So what we want to do is to scale up these operations. And our Prime Minister has been very strong on the issue of long-term contracts to be developed between farmers and the hoteliers. And manufacturers too, for other items of like bedding and so on and so forth. And we are there with them. And I had the discussions with the partners, and they have agreed that they will do these long-term contracts. So we are saying that the new thrust in the next round is going to be an all-out assault on the supply side of tourism. The wealth of tourism is in the supply side. And if we can supply the food that is required, and that's the first item, then we have health and wellness. It's another big area. Spas, we have two of the finest in the world, Milk River and Bath. We have interest in it by investors, but we want to make sure in this round we are strong on there. But the value of our rich biodiversity has to be exploited more to create the nutraceuticals, right? So that you have the soaps and the oils and the wraps and all the herbs and the impact of it. That's what is powerful. And the visitors come for health and wellness, and we can provide. That's a huge market, and Jamaica is going to tap heavily into that new market. And then we have the area of entertainment and sports, and Jamaica is the champion. And we're going to be driving that harder. We've started. We now have Usain Bolt as our ambassador for tourism worldwide. And that's a signal that we're making. But we have to get investment in the infrastructure for tourism. We have to build some more stadia. We have to build some more performing arts centers and so on across. But we are doing the basics that are necessary. We have established an entertainment academy, first of its kind, for what we call fit-for-purpose training, so that the performers in the hotel industry are performing appropriate to the needs and requirements of the tourists who come from all over the world, from different cultures, with different tastes, but to broaden their perspective on how to present these musical and other theatrical as well presentations, because we do have actors in the stage as well. So what we're doing is to build capacity. Then we want to ensure that the communities that are around our tourism space are also fit for purpose. Because I said yesterday, and I repeat today, it is a painful thought that the workers leave the palatial hotel setting and to go into hovels where there's no running water, there's no macadamized roadway, there's no sewage, there's no flush toilet. So we are committed as an industry to drive that. And the government has taken that as a very critical part of its whole deliverables for the industry, to provide the enabling arrangements for this. So what we did, we bought some lands in some places. We partnered with HAJ, and the result of which is we have a brand new community called Grange Pen. We're going to change the name. People that can't live in Penn, so we're going to change the name. We're going to call it Grange something, you know. But what we want to do is to ensure that those 535 families that were there living in what was unregulated settlements are now regulated, and they are receiving their titles. 55 of them have already gotten their titles. And every road, 99% of the roads are now paved, water connected to every house, electricity, and sewage infrastructure is in place for a further arrangement. So this is what we're doing, and we started with that community. We partnered also in terms of building housing for our tourism workers. The Rand Park Estates, which they call Edmund Ridge, is perhaps a good example. 784 beautiful houses there, and tourism workers. And tourism workers are not just those in the hotel, remember. It's everybody else. It's the Juta driver, the taxi man, you know, it's the vendors in the craft market, you name them. These are tourism workers. The hotel workers are a part of the tourism workforce. And the airport workers are tourism workers. 90% of the activities at the airport is about tourism. And the port workers who deal with the cruise arrangement, they are tourism workers. And so they are qualified there. And so we are driving that to enable. But then we have a legislative arrangement that will support this. And we have also the buying of our hotel partners, which is the big part of it, so that over the next 5 years, 2,000 new houses will be built by hotels for their workers and families. We're going further than that, because we believe that the future of tourism is embedded in the people. And so every act that we take must bring Jamaicans first. And so we have established a new mantra for the next round: Jamaica first. And all of these training activities that we're talking about, all of these legal arrangements, and yesterday we spoke about legislative reforms, that we are revising the tourism, the JTB Act, that we are looking at a whole slew of strategic policy framework adjustments to respond to the changes that are taking place in the global space, to respond also to the cognitive systems that are now going to influence and determine what tourism is going to look like. And there are no laws now that are supporting the new dynamics of digitization in tourism. When changes in business models occur, like Airbnb and the whole business of, the sharing economy overall, there has to be a legislative adjustment to respond to that. And so that's part of the review that we are doing at this time. So what we're trying to enable is a new tourism, and for the workers, for the communities, and for the investors to all have an opportunity to thrive and to grow. So the theme for this year is that we want to thrive in 25. Yeah. Now, the final area that I wanted to touch on with you has to do with our proposed expansion. In fact, there are two areas, not just one in the final discussion, 2 areas. One is the whole area of expanding the tourism social safety net. And we are the first and only government to have looked in this manner at the future and to future-proof the social security of a tourism worker. The pension plan, the comprehensive tourism pension plan, which is a world-class, in fact, a first in the world. Jamaica has led the world in this. We are the only tourism country in the Americas to have a comprehensive pension plan for every category of worker in the industry. And Prime Minister Andrew Holness gave $1 billion through finance and TEF to seed this fund. So the fund began with 1 billion Jamaican dollars. And the purpose of that billion was to enable workers who were 59 years old at the time when they applied and would only have 6 years more of active working life before they are pensionable, to allow them to get the same pension of $225,000 that we had designated as if they had started with the policy when they were 18 years old. So to date, in 2 years since the pension has been established, over 10,000 applications, and we have saved $4.3 billion in the fund. Now, the potential of this fund is enormous. And not only will it be providing the social safety net for the worker, because of the level of accretion that is there. It is now accreting at $100 million per month. And as the membership increases, the level of accretion will also rise. So we see this as being potentially the largest pool of capital that will be in the economy available for development. It was going to be the largest pool of affordable funds. Some people say cheap funds, but we don't say cheap funds. We say affordable funds. And what that will represent is what we call domestic savings. And the power of growth within an economy, it's its ability to convert domestic saving into investments. And so when you use that local fund for investment, you're saving leakages now. You're tapping leakage of your dollar. So you don't have to pay to any external force for the debt that you incur here, because it's to your own self. So you're paying back yourself. So all that dollar that you would pay out stays right here in the country and builds you and accretes your GDP and enables growth. So the tourism contribution in this regard is more than just a social safety net for the worker, but it is part of a global arrangement for economic growth and development of the country. The final area in it now has to do with investment potential. We're at a point where the ratio of visitors to your local is 1-to-1. And that is an inflection point that you've reached. And so we're going to pivot. We're going to pivot now from the heavy reliance on the all-inclusives that we've had in the past to luxury tourism. And already we have 6 mega developments that are coming on stream or already on stream that is going to respond fully to that pivot. And we have the Pinnacle development in Montego Bay, which is seen as part of the Little Dubai that you're creating, 4 luxury towers at a high end. We have an investment to break ground for in Paradise in Savlamar. That's a mega with a brand that is top-class brand. We have Bahia Principe that's going to be expanding with Hyatt to create another luxury element of nearly 350 units, just luxury, in addition to their other 1,000 units, yes, that are going to be for mixed purposes. Then we have Palladium, that's going to have 900 luxury rooms. Then we have the expansion of Unicorn to bring Hard Rock and another high-end facility. And then Moon Palace is going to create a 33-story facility with luxury, and also to build out the concept that I spoke about earlier of the circular economy. So we want to create a new township in Rose Hall around that. Now, of those 6, and Harmony Cove, yes, and Harmony Cove. So that's the 6. And that will change the game for us. Jamaica now enjoys a good ADR, no question about that. But with this pivot, it will expand even more. But it's going to require some new skill sets too. Because at that end of luxury, it requires a new type of skill sets to deal with. Casino gaming is coming in November of this year. And that will also be expanded. We will end up with about 4 casino facilities embedded in the IRDs, that is the Integrated Resort Development concept. Jamaica is ready to take off, to drive new areas of growth, to enable economic prosperity to reach the average man. And tourism is the vehicle, and we have to do it. And we will do it because we choose Jamaica. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, Minister. We are going to open up for questions, but I should note that we do have some individuals from the Ministry of Education who are here who will present on some of the literacy initiatives that we have. There was a question last week that came from one of our favorite reporters on that area, and so we're going to be talking about that afterwards. So Naomi, let's start with the questions for Minister Bartlett.
Good morning, ministers, and I hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday morning. Just a quick one, tourism ambassador, global tourism ambassador, the Honorable Usain Bolt was this morning named the Guinness World Records icon. So congratulations to him,
Yes,
Minister.
very
I think
good.
a question. That is, he's doing a junket in Europe, and so he's really having a wonderful time, and certainly naming him ambassador. In fact, I saw a question last time when he was at the function naming him. What really is the scope of his role, if you could just say that? And a question coming from online, I see Mahiri here, but I just wanted to wrap those up since we mentioned Hussein at the start. The Airbnb sector, Minister, someone wanted an update in terms of will there be regulations for that? So at the Honorable Usain Bolt in terms of his scope and the Airbnb sector.
Yes. Okay, so first of all, the easy, nice one is Usain Bolt, of course. I think Jamaica is very well placed to drive a new perspective on global recognition through the Honorable Usain Bolt. He really is an icon and is globally regarded so. And so we are very excited about working with him to expand Jamaica's brand impact worldwide. And we see where he's going to share with us in a number of key market activities. He's just signed off to do a special ad. I was able to look at the mock-up, if you call it that, for it in New York a couple of days ago. So shortly we'll see him in an ad promoting Jamaica's tourism. So we're working with him in a way that fits into his program too, and to give him space to become other symbols across the world. I see also that Serbia is using his image and so on for the Expo 27. And that's exciting, that's good. So in other words, anywhere that he's inserted adds value to destination Jamaica. And we're excited about that. The issue of the sharing economy. And people colloquially say Airbnb to describe what is the sharing economy. And perhaps it's right. It's just like Uber, to deal with that element of it. But what the sharing economy is a dynamic business form that has emerged in tourism, that has sought to democratize the accommodation subsector. And it flow a lot into the new technological changes as well. And so we have to look at how to enable destination assurance to be guaranteed to all the users of the Airbnb facilities, say, for example. And so what we're looking at is to enable a participation by all in this process of securing Jamaica as a safe, secure, and seamless destination. And so we have to participate. Everyone has to participate in it. And Airbnb is prepared to. We had discussions with them already. As a matter of fact, I just want to boast a little bit, if you allow me to. Because I am their poster boy.
All right.
Yes, because I am the one who made Airbnb get global recognition when established hotel cartels in some parts were trying to destroy the new business model that emerged. At the time, I was chair of the Global Tourism UN Executive Council for affiliates. And so I had the responsibility of determining whether or not Airbnb was accepted. And I fought hard and told them as chairman, we are a private sector at the time I was. Because that was during the interregnum, when I was on sabbatical for 4 years. Remember that time? Yes. So I used the position to indicate that we are private sector and we are about innovation. And why are you stopping innovation? And so since then, they have looked at me differently. And Jamaica was the first place that they actually came. And we have an MOU with them. So we are working through a mechanism to make it painless for the local participants. But the participation must be there because we have to secure the integrity of the destination.
Thank you so much, Minister, for that comprehensive response. I think there's a lot in terms of dissecting a news value from that as well. All right, Mahiri, I see you chomping at the bits. All right, let's have you.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Mahiri Stewart, Nationwide News here. Minister, in light of the fact that general elections are looming, if you were to evaluate your own performance, would you say you've done enough as both minister and MP to help your administration secure another term in office?
Absolutely. Without equivocation or fear of contradiction.
Nice.
Yes. An unqualified yes.
All right.
That's a very simple answer. Very straightforward.
Well, both of you, I guess my next question would be, in light of Monday's squall winds we saw bring some damage to certain areas of the country, how prepared are your sectors for the upcoming hurricane season?
Oh, very good question. You heard the minister said earlier that perhaps we coined the term tourism resilience. Resilience is at the heart of the capacity to respond to disruptions such as you mentioned. And one ministry that is prepared is our tourism ministry here in Jamaica. And we have a complete area that is designed between TPDCO and the administration itself. We have our own, I hate to use the word disaster because in tourism we don't say disaster. We have events, not disasters, right? So, but it is called the Disaster Risk Management Division. And we work through with our partners, fine-tuning all the steps to be taken to deal with, weather events, such as what you mentioned, seismic events, like earthquakes and so on. And since COVID, we have had to focus a lot more on health events as well. So, yes, we are well equipped and prepared to deal with these events that are looming. We can't tell you that we'll be able to resolve all the problems when they come, but we certainly will be prepared to deal with them as best as possible.
All right. In terms of education, and I would look at it in terms of two different areas, education and information. So in terms of education, the Ministry of Education has done quite a bit of work to make us ready. And if you think about it, the Ministry of Education has oversight for 1,000 public education institutions, and a lot of those, more than 700 of them, are designated shelters. So we also have to recognize that our schools, we don't just need to think about it in terms of the infrastructure of the school, we also are going to have to mobilize the schools in order for them to be used as shelters. And so there's a lot of work that has been done. There's been a lot of upgrades and maintenance work that has been done. We did some roof retrofitting and replacements, 101 schools. We were able to do that work on, and there's still some more that we're working on. And we're also having our emergency systems put in place, that has already been put in place. We have protocols around communication with the teachers through bulletins. The ministry is very much a part of the disaster preparedness group led by ODPEM and the Disaster Risk Council. We're a very important stakeholder in that. And so ODPEM provides information to the Ministry of Education, and the Ministry of Education has a protocol in terms of how we get that out to the schools. And the schools have already been notified of the protocols that are in place in terms of closing schools if that is necessary, and so on. And so I think we are ready, and I think the last Hurricane Beryl showed that we understand how to do things, and we also know how to recover after a hurricane, which is the key thing, being able to build in some resilience in it and also be able to recover quickly. So I think we're in good stead, but we are obviously praying that there is no hurricane that comes, but if it does come, we do have protocols in place.
All right, thank you. And last question to Senator Seabright. Has the JLP confirmed whether or not you're going to be the caretaker for North Central St. Andrew? And if yes, how confident are you that you will be victorious in the next general election?
We didn't discuss that in cabinet. We only do policy issues in this meeting, but I'm sure Senator will speak to you outside of this press briefing.
Yes. Thank you, Minister.
All right.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
So
Thank
this morning
you.
we have a newbie.
Oh, we
she's
do?
Here, yes, so
Nice.
Introduce yourself for me.
Morning, everybody. My name is Amwe Harriet. I am a reporter with Television Jamaica.
Very good.
I guess I'm a newbie because it's my first time. All right, so a few questions. Minister Bartlett, then I have one for you, Minister Morris Dixon. So what are the plans in place right now that are being executed, or what strategies are being executed right now to address the labor shortage in the tourism ministry?
Well, we spoke a bit on training and development of human capital to facilitate the expansion of the industry. But the pace of growth of tourism now is in fact outdoing our own efforts to train and create the staff. So we have to look to see how we can pull from the areas now, for example, that the unemployment numbers are low. But within the areas of people who have capacity to work but not seeking work, we're going to have to go there to see how we can draw from that group also to add to it. But broadening the perspective on the issues of what I call portability. We do have a lot of Jamaicans elsewhere who we can pull back home. And then we have to look at what I call immigration enrichment as part of a strategy to enable the sufficiency of workers that are going to be required for the huge expansion that is taking place.
All right, Minister. So, according to TripAdvisor, last year, the Dominican Republic was the most visited country in the Caribbean, and the exact figure that they gave was 8.5 million visitors, and then Jamaica followed with 2.9. How do you respond to concerns that the DR is threatening what the Jamaican government is trying to achieve in terms of tourism?
Oh, well, the DR is 5 times the size of Jamaica to begin with. They have 175,000 rooms. We have 32. You know, they are far advanced in terms of building out the supply side of their industry. We are getting there. What we have, however, is a unique product, a unique offering. We have a very, what I say, undeniable customer value proposition. And that's what makes Jamaica grow. Our ratio of visitor to population, I just mentioned to you, right? Domrep has 11 million people, and they have 8 million visitors. So you see, they're still not where you are from a point of view of the ratio. So we're not deterred by the activities there. In fact, it enhances ours, because we do share a lot. The whole air connectivity arrangement that came to being a few months ago has enabled now Jamaica to connect easily with Domrep, and we're beginning to see the benefit of a two-way flow. And then Domrep, as a center, provides air connectivity through other airline activities from Europe. And so a lot of the charters and so on that come to Jamaica, some of them come through Domrep to Jamaica. So we have also signed an MOU for multi-destination tourism. So we're working as a family, because if one grows, the other can. And the difference between the two of us also is one beautiful thing called language. Jamaica, you know, we are the 3rd largest English-speaking country in the Americas. Yes. Canada, US, and Jamaica. And so we are seen as a bridgehead to the most lucrative market in the world, the USA. And so we have our space. We're going to fill it. We're going to do well. We're going to continue to grow. And we will get to that 8 million, as the PM said, in due course.
So that's Minister Morris Dixon. All right, I'm going to have to hold that question, Minister. I'll come grab you.
All right. So, but there's one little thing that I said. The rate of return is better in Jamaica than they are. And I think that's the big item that we need to take away, that the rate of return is better. In other words, with the 2.9 stopover and 1.5 cruise, we are making 4.3 billion. And with their 8, they are making just a little over 9 billion. So you see? Okay, good.
Very good.
So on the note of growth, Minister Bartlett, there have been quite a few developments over the years in the tourism sector. And of course, you know, stakeholders in the sector are quite excited. But, you know, it cannot be ignored, the environmental concerns, because just recently we had some residents in Flankers, you know, St. James, who were protesting against the, you know, the bungalows, the water bungalows that were proposed. What are your thoughts on this?
Right. So the symbiotic relationship between development and the environment cannot be denied. And tourism is very, very concerned about this, because the environment is the product. And we have no product if we have a degraded environment. So we are concerned that in all the development plans, there's harmony, and that we make sure that there's regenerative activity that is involved in our program. So if you remove something here, you put it back over there. If you go into the ocean, say, for example, and remove seaweeds in order to put a bungalow, you plant it somewhere else. So we are making sure that the sustainability of our environment is intact at all times, because we have no tourism if there's no environment.
All right, thank you, Minister. My final question to Minister Morris Dixon. How do you respond to concerns that there aren't enough schools in Jamaica for children with disabilities? Just recently, coming out of Portland, we have parents who have their students in an early childhood institution, you know, for kids with special needs. And they're concerned that come September, their kids will have nowhere to go because the only 2 primary level institutions in the school that caters to students with special needs, they're at full capacity. How do you respond to these concerns?
All right, I'm going to start, and my CEO is here, so I'll have her give you more specifics in relation to Portland. Now, the children with special needs are a priority of this ministry. And we have said that, and we mean it, and we have done a lot. Is there more to do? Yes, we do have more to do, but we've done a lot so far. If we look at policy generally, we have a special needs policy. There are not many countries in the world with a special needs policy. That indicates how important it is for us to take care of our children with special needs. We also increased the number of shadows for special needs children, and we also doubled their pay. So those are some of the tangible things we've done. Diagnostics is another area that's really big. And if you look globally at the data is very clear globally that we're seeing increased numbers of children with special needs. And so every country in the world is going to have to confront this issue. And what we have done is kind of done it on kind of a 2-tier level. So you have schools that are specifically for children with special needs, but those are supposed to be more severe special needs. Then you also are trying to have a more inclusive environment, because the data is also showing you that inclusivity is better. So what you do is you incorporate the child with special needs into the traditional system, but you provide the resources and support. And we have some lecturers here from Shortwood Teachers College, and they'll tell you in their programs, in the teacher education programs, we're teaching that inclusivity, because we understand that every teacher eventually is going to be a teacher of special needs children. And so there's that 2-tier approach that we have. We also have to deal with diagnostics, because we have to diagnose these issues, and that's been a big issue. And that's why in Portland this very year, we will be having a new diagnostic center to better identify children with special needs and therefore be able to put them in the right environment that is for them. So that's generally on the policy side. I don't know if you want to add anything on Portland, but there's a lot of work, and I think as a country we're going to have to talk a little bit more about it. Which children do we put in the specialized institutions, and which ones we incorporate, and how integrate, and how do you integrate? And what kind of training do we need to give to the teachers? And as I was at one school recently, I was sitting with the teachers, and the teachers were saying, we recognize that we have children in our class with ADHD, maybe dyslexia and other issues, and we would like you to give us more training in terms of how we handle special needs. I've been at classes in one of our primary schools in downtown Kingston, where you see the teacher doing that inclusive approach. So she has the children grouped into 3 different groups. Some of them have learning challenges, and then you have a very fast group, but then you have a middle group. And she would tailor her lesson to all 3 groups. And the classwork that was given was different for each 3 groups of children. And so that was inclusivity in action. And that's what we want to do more of. We obviously have to do a little bit more of the training that's necessary for that. And the ministry is doing a lot of that work, and the teacher training institutions are integral to that. And again, another plug for Shortwood Teachers College. A few months ago, they had a big symposium on special education, looking at how you incorporate it more. All of their students were a part of it, because they are all learning how to deal with children with special needs. Do you need more answers, or we can give you after? All right. Okay. All righty.
Well, Minister, thank you so much. Comprehensive answer. And Amoy, thank you for
and Amoy, we should note, Amoy is a Prime Minister Youth Awardee nominee. So congratulations to her. And it's good to see you here at Post-Cabinet Press Briefing. Come again anytime.
Yes.
And as I always say,
Yes.
any question that's asked by the media, we answer it here. We're very open as an administration. So please, please note that. Come again.
Well,
All
Minister,
right.
Amoy's question is a great segue to what everybody in Jamaica is asking this week. When is PEP coming out?
All right, thank you. All right.
That's a big
Minister,
story.
Minister Bartlett, I'm sure you'd love to know this.
Yes.
All right, so today is grade 4 PEP. Tomorrow is also grade 4 PEP, so I'll start with that, and I wish all of our students the best. Said a special prayer for them this morning, but I know they can do it. They've been well prepared for it. PEP results, PEP 6 results, will be distributed this Friday. 2 days from now. We will start by opening up the portal to the schools at 11 a.m. and then we will open it up to parents at 1 p.m. Now, I have a message to parents. Only 10,000 parents of the 30-odd thousand children have registered on the portal to see their children's grades. Where are the other 20-something thousand parents? Where are you? In order for you to get your child's grade, you need to use the SMS, and SMS has been sent to you. Please use the SMS. It gives you the information on registering on the system, because every single year the system goes down. Why does it go down? Because parents are trying to register all at the same time and also trying to access at the same time. Let us do that today. Let's do that tomorrow. Let us register to get the results. And so on Friday, I expect to see some very happy children and parents across Jamaica. The wait is over.
And I have my annual PEP award.
And it's
That
an
is
epic
planned
one.
for July. Yes, so looking forward to it.
Thank
Thanks.
you, Minister.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Well,
Minister.
Minister, I see no more questions on the floor,
All
but
right,
just to know
so-
that today the Prime Minister has a very, very busy schedule as well, and the Minister, you're going to
Yes,
invite
I'm going to
more on literacy.
invite, we have to just do something very quick because there was a question from the media and there's been a lot of requests for information on literacy. And so we're going to do this very quickly. And with us today, we have Dr. Novlet McLean-Francis, who is Senior Education Officer in the Curriculum Unit in the Ministry of Education. We also, as I said, we had some lecturers in our teacher training institutions from Michael and Shortwood Teachers College. We have Desmond Bonner-Edwards, Kay Williams-Pinnock, and Alicia Gonzalez-Morgan. Can you all stand, please, so that we can recognize? These are lecturers in our teacher training institutions. We're doing a lot of work on literacy. And so anyone who doesn't believe that, they're here to tell you all the work that is happening. And so I invite Dr. Novlet McLean-Francis to come and just tell you what we are doing in terms of literacy. And this is important for the tourism industry because we're going to provide you with the labor that you need coming from our high schools. And so thank you, Doc.
Okay, thank you, Doc. All right, I would like to acknowledge very quickly the chair of this session, the Honorable Dana Morris Dixon, Minister of Education in the Ministry of Education Skills, Youth and Information, the Honorable Edmund Bartlett, Minister of Tourism, and his technical team, including Senator Delano Seabright, Minister of State, and his permanent secretary, Ms. Jennifer Griffiths. I would also like to acknowledge my permanent secretary, Captain Dr. Kassan Troop, and her technical team. I would also like to acknowledge my CU acting, Mrs. Terry Ann Thomas Gale, and my DCU, Curriculum and Support Services, Mrs. Winnie Berry, who is here with us today, and of course our partners from the teachers' colleges who are early reading trainers in this intervention that I have. I'm so happy that they're with me today. Members of the media, other distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. So I would like to share with you today that the ministry has embarked upon a general and national reading initiative. And I would just like to state for the record that the ministry is completely committed to improving literacy. So this is just one step in improving literacy in Jamaica. I would also like to state for the record that the ministry recognizes the work of our teachers. And so this intervention is not aimed in any way to undermine the quality of our teachers and the sacrifices that they have made to improve our system, because there are many factors outside of education that impact our students. And some of these have whether a direct or indirect bearing on reading. So today I will be primarily talking to you about our early grade reading teacher training workshops, which are on stream to hit us full force coming Monday, June 23. And these will run until July 1. All three grades, grades 1, 2, and 3. And so very quickly, what are the aims of this intervention? So for the early reading, our aim as a ministry is to support or to retool our teachers, not to teach them reading. They have been to college, they have been to university. So essentially we are retooling them in effectively implementing the reading program in our national standards curriculum. So this is not a new thing. Our curriculum has been around. It was in the schools from 2016 and officially put in the system in 2018, printed versions, online versions. Also to explore what we call an integrated reading framework to make it more explicit. It was always there, but sort of implicit. And so in this intervention, we hope to make this reading framework explicit with its attendant approaches and strategies that will be promoted via our early reading training. Also for teachers to share their challenges. We know some of them, but we want to hear from them. That will be addressed in this intervention. We hope to review some of the components and principles of reading to make certain that everyone is on the same page, and to help them to demonstrate their competence in integrating the different components, strands, and strategies of reading. Also, we want to help them to plan and implement meaningful reading interventions. We heard earlier about special education needs and the inclusive classrooms. So outside of our special education institutions, in our regular classroom, we have some students who have some special needs that would not require them to be out of the regular system, but the teachers need to be equipped. And we have been doing work. The special education unit has been working with our schools, but we want to help them to plan some of these interventions and also to use data to assist them even as they plan these interventions so that they can track the progress of students. And we have instruments in place, some that were developed under the USAID Jamaica Basic Education Project that we will be introducing fully. Some schools do have them, but system-wide to make them available to our schools. And also to look at what I call the modified NSC grades 1 to 3 scope and sequence. So in the curriculum, we do have objectives on the different strands of reading, and for this training what we have done to make it easier for our teachers is to pull out all of these objectives into one document. And also with our ears on the ground, we have made some modifications that should make planning easier for our teachers. And also to bring our media services unit on board, who will be introducing to our teachers, and some of the schools are aware already, certain tools and strategies and resources that are AI enabled to enhance instruction. So at our trainers workshop that was held last week, and our trainers, some of them they're here, they were blown away by what the media services has done to books like the LMW series, the language material workshop books that have been in the system for many years, but they have enhanced them. And so if we were blown away as adults, you can imagine the teachers. I would just like to share with you very briefly our partners in this intervention. So we have our core curriculum unit. Well, we're not part, well, we are the main people, but we have the Teachers Colleges of Jamaica, We have the tertiary unit of the ministry, the standards development unit, and which is the school improvement branch aspect of it, media services unit, the creative language-based learning, which is an organization devoted to making reading better, and we have partnered with them. Our national literacy team that also works with our regions, which involves our teachers and officers and lecturers also, and everyone. The planning, evaluation, and monitoring unit, they were at our trainers workshop, and they will be at our teachers workshop. The special education unit, and they will be doing a webinar with our teachers. We couldn't do everything in the training given the time, and we can't keep our teachers till 5 or 6 o'clock like our trainers, and therefore some of the things are through electronic material that the teachers can use on an ongoing basis. And of course the Jamaica Library Service. So there you have it. We have many partners on board. And just a quick background. We are aware of the reading challenges, and some of them are caused by different events, as our minister said earlier. All right? And one of them is the teaching and learning of literacy skills within a Creole learning context. We know we are bilingual, and therefore some of our learners, the structures and so that they struggle with, our language experience and awareness approach, which we will be reinforcing in this training, will help our teachers once more to pay more attention to how students, how the structures are introduced, the English structures, to our early learners. Also things like inflectional endings that are invisible to Creole speakers who can read but will say member when it's members, and forget that they don't say the S. We will be working on that. Limited emergent reading skills, special learning challenges, and also a fragmentation of reading components in some cases will be emphasized. And just to point out, which is very important, that in the curriculum reading is offered in 2 blocks, which is the integrated studies and also explicit teaching in a window that is dedicated to reading. So reading is there in our curriculum. And so just to tell you that our program schedule, it will be 2 training days beginning at 8 o'clock and ending at 3:30 to 3:35 on the first day, and 3:30 on the second day. Basically, we aim to equip our teachers. Now, I just want to share with you, as we said, that it's a national intervention. So we'll also be looking at 4 to 6, 7 to 9, doing ongoing training with our 1 to 3 teachers, because this is just a start. And that's it. There's much more, but in the interest of time, thank you.
Thank you very much, Doc. And so we have said that we were going to be timetabling reading for grade 1 to 3. That is happening in September. And that is why all this training is happening. We don't say we're going to do things and then we don't put the infrastructure and the plans in place. And that is what we're explaining in terms of the training that is happening. And also we already have the NSLIP approach, which I've spoken about before, where we've identified all of the schools that are not performing at the level we would like. And the ministry is currently doing interventions in those schools. And a lot of the interventions are around literacy. And as I have said before, our goal is to ensure that no child leaves primary school not able to read. And that is what we are aiming for, all of the system. And so, Doc, I thank you for sharing with us what is happening there. Naomi, I think I'm going to close out.
Yes, I don't think there are any further questions.
And the team is here afterwards for the media.
But just a quick note, Minister, the Prime Minister is in St. Mary today. We're looking at a lot of the infrastructure projects, water and roads, and so he has a very full agenda today.
Wonderful, and we look forward to all of the announcements coming out of the PM. And as we close today, I just remind you that we have the JCF, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, is having their expo this weekend. Go and see all of the work they're doing. 44% down murders are. So that means that we need to go and see all the technology that they're using. And as I said before, PEP results are out on Friday. And then also coming up, we have the CARICOM Heads of Government, and the Ministry of Tourism is central to that hosting. It's a big deal. And that's going to be happening in Montego Bay from July 6 to 8, 2025. And it will be led by the incoming chair of CARICOM, who is our Prime Minister, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness. And so we look forward to that. That's going to be a big deal. All of CARICOM, all of the Caribbean will be here in Jamaica, in Montego Bay. And so as we close off, I again tell you thank you for being with us this Wednesday morning. We're always here to listen to the media, answer the questions from the media, no matter how hard they are. And we look forward to continuing that work with the media. And as always, God bless Jamaica, land we love. And of course, we thank you for continuing to choose Jamaica. Thank you.